So, if you missed it, the Montreal Canadiens made themselves a really interesting draft selection in the first round of the 2026 NHL Draft. Gleb Pugachyov is the NHL Draft's most violent, soul-crushing, bone-breaking player out of the entire class. And the Montreal Canadiens traded up to 26th overall to get him. Now, the reason we are diving into Gleb Pugachyov today is because of the latest we had spoken about earlier last week. You see, we made a video talking about Gleb Pugachyov and his warning, you can say, to Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals, where Gleb was revealing some of the things that the Montreal Canadiens asked him in his draft interview. And they asked him, hey, let's say you're playing for the Montreal Canadiens and Tom Wilson is causing a ruckus. What are you going to do? Gleb essentially said that Tom Wilson is going to have to worry and that he is going to do his darndest to break Wilson as far down as he can. That is what we made our video about. But now we have a part 2. Because leave it to overpaid Washington Capitals defenseman Vincent Desharnais to step in there and respond to the newest Montreal Canadiens prospect. Now, this is all coming to us from an article posted on MontrealHockeyFanatics.com yesterday by Elias Edmondson. Vinny Desharnais fires back after Canadiens prospect Gleb Pugachyov made some bold Tom Wilson comments. We'll leave a link in the description to this article, and we'll also leave a link in the description to the Sans Restriction podcast, which featured Vincent Desharnais of the Capitals, that was posted yesterday, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, Vinny Desharnais is a guy that we've also made a video about earlier this offseason because he ended up signing a big money deal with the Washington Capitals, $4.2 million a year for 4 seasons. A guy who only had 7 points in 53 San Jose Sharks games in last season's worth of play. Desharnais was not good in Vancouver. He was unproductive in Pittsburgh. He got traded twice in 24-25, stuck around in Washington for 25-26, and then went over to Washington for an unbearably high dollar amount, it seems. But anyways, Vinny Desharnais is one of the biggest guys in the league, 6'7", 227 pounds, a right-handed defenseman who will be making $4.2 million till he's 34 years old. Let's dive into what the article goes out there and says about Desharnais and Pugachyov. This piece opens up with the earlier comments made by Pugachyov about Tom Wilson. Here is just a selection of quotes from the big Gleb Pugachyov. He enjoys hurting his opponents. That's his job. He also said that if he were to drop the gloves with Tom Wilson, if Tommy Wilson went out there and challenged him to a fight, I said there would be nothing left of him. This, of course, made the rounds as Tom Wilson is one of the meanest, dirtiest, toughest guys in the National Hockey League, and Gleb Pugachyov is 18 years old and he's just recently gotten drafted by the Montreal Canadiens. This is why, when you take a look at the response from Vinny Desharnais, it gets all the more interesting. Pugachyov's comments spread quickly across social media, and one of Washington's newest players decided to set the record straight. Vinny Desharnais, who signed a 4-year contract with Washington this summer, reacted during the Sans Restriction podcast. The towering defenseman didn't go easy on Pugachyov. My reaction? I'd say, make it to the NHL first, and then we'll see. You just got drafted. I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean anything, Desharnais said. He might never even play in the NHL, this guy. If he makes it to the NHL and plays against us, we'll be there. You just got drafted, and you're calling out a guy who's been in the league for 10 years. You've accomplished nothing. What you're saying means nothing. You have no respect. You've got to be careful what you say, the defenseman concluded. Are we in the midst of building up a decades-long rivalry between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals? Is Gleb Pugachyov gonna open up his NHL career with some super hot fire against some of the most tough and gigantic Washington Capitals players out there? Vinny Desharnais ain't no slouch either. Sure, I criticize the way he plays the game and his overall skill set, but when it comes to being a physical force, Desharnais 6'7", 227, he can go out there and cause a ruckus and he can fight. Tom Wilson, 6'4", 220, he moves like a freight train. He's a bulldozer out there and he is not afraid to torture his opponents with devastating body checks and 1 or 2 cheap shots when the referee is not looking. Gleb Pugachyov is a guy that delivers big, booming body checks as well and is not afraid to fight. As we had mentioned, he enjoys hurting his opponents. That's his job, he said. But for Vinny Desharnais to come back out and say, hey, wait a minute, buddy, make the NHL first, and then we'll see. These comments are quite bold. And you can't even say that any of this is wrong. Like, all of this is absolutely true. There is a chance, albeit a small chance, that Gleb Pugachyov never even plays an NHL game. Obviously, I would prefer that to not happen, as I am a Montreal Canadiens fan. I want to see Canadiens guys do well, and Pugachyov has one of the most intriguing profiles out there out of any player that was drafted in the 2026 draft, let alone a Montreal Canadiens draft pick. But if Vinny Desharnais is going out there and setting this up, talking to Gleb, talking down to Gleb, and saying, hey, you just got drafted, you're calling out a guy who has been in the NHL for 10 years, you've accomplished nothing. That's a pretty big statement. Now, I will say, Vinny Desharnais, Gleb Pugachyov has accomplished a little bit more than you have. Desharnais was a 7th-round pick back in 2016. Gleb was a 1st-round pick. Heck, I don't even know if Tom Wilson was drafted that high. Oh, never mind. He was taken 16th overall. Okay, fine. I stand corrected. But either way, you know, this commentary, I do think it comes from an interesting place because obviously the comments that Pugachyov made saying that there would be nothing left of Tom Wilson, it's not like he went out there into the media and just decided to spark out a flame. He was directly talking about what the Montreal Canadiens asked him in his draft interview, and they proposed the hypothetical, hey, if you're playing off against Washington and Tom Wilson's challenging you to a fight, what do you do? Of course he's going to go out there and say, yeah, I'm going to fight him, and I'm going to win. He's not going to say, oh, I'm going to fight him and I'm going to hope that I can come out on top. I hope that I can learn some lessons along the way. It's like, nah, I'm an enforcer. I'm going to beat the brakes off of you. And Tom Wilson, I don't care who you are. I'm going to go out there and do my darndest and it's going to work. And the level of confidence here, the physical assertion, the dominance, that is what Montreal coveted. That's what Pugachyov gave them in the interview. And sure, maybe it's not really the best move to publicly say that in response to the draft process and post it out later that, yeah, I talked about Tom Wilson in my draft interview, because now you're inviting company like Vinny Desharnais to go out there and put a big target on this guy's back right when he steps into the National Hockey League. But knowing everything we know about Gleb Pugachyov, he's probably all for it. He's like, yeah, okay, Vinny Desharnais, you're talking smack, come get some. You want some too? Okay, fine. When I make the NHL, you're next. He's got a 4-year contract. He's signed on for the long term in Washington. He's probably going to retire as a member of Washington. So there's a lot of time for Gleb to inevitably make the league and challenge up Desharnais to whatever it is he needs to challenge him to, alongside of Tom Wilson, who, by the way, is also signed on till 2031. This is a long-term rivalry in the making, isn't it? And I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Gleb Pugachyov, Vinny Desharnais, Tom Wilson, thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.